as well as author of Dogs Taught Me Everything I Know About Business, Dan Geltrude. So Dan, this of course was the first trading session since Moody's decision just last Friday to bring the United States a notch down from its AAA rating over its mishandling of the national debt. But it seems we're not quite out of the woods yet, with futures so far in the red this morning. Dan, how do you see this rating affecting the stock market long term?
Well, in the long term, I'm not exactly sure the impact will be as sharp as the short term. Here's the real issue here is that downgrade from Moody's impacts interest rates. And as interest rates go up, what happens? Borrowing by the government, as well as companies and everyone else, becomes more expensive. So when that happens, Alex, it impacts the bottom line of companies, which impacts the value of the stocks. Yes. And that's where we can see some impact from this downgrade from Moody's in the stock market.
Exactly. Well, toppling onto the stock market, so the rating drop is also causing mortgages to unfortunately cross back over that 7% mark. So Dan, a 30-year fixed rate rose to 7.04%. Now it's the highest price since April 11th. Do you think, unfortunately, that we see these rates just continue to climb?
Well, I don't think that we're going to see a drop off anytime soon. And again, we go back to the same issue here. It's about the interest rates. And we are not seeing any signaling by the Federal Reserve that interest rates are going to be coming down anytime soon. So you have inflation still remaining sticky.
Yeah.
That impact on U.S. debt causes bond interest rates to go up, which keeps mortgage rates elevated. So we're all going in the same direction here. It's all about those interest rates and what the Federal Reserve does with them.
Yeah, so let's move on just a little bit, Dan. So the maker of Guinness and Johnnie Walker, you know, the very popular alcohol brands, so they're expecting to see $150 million profit hit from the tariffs. In response, the UK manufacturer is already looking to make substantial asset sales and cost cuts by 2028, equaling up to $500 million. Now, these would mostly come from advertising spending, overhead, supply chain. But the company says it's not going to actually affect business here in the States. Do you honestly think that's the case?
Well, as we know, tariffs are designed to make things more expensive. And that's what's exactly happening here. So the response that you're having is say, well, listen, tariffs is going to impact our bottom line. So what do? We need to make cuts in other places. Now, let's hope that we have some deals being made between President Trump and nations around the world. We can bring tariffs down across the board, but make them fair for everyone, and then we wouldn't have issues like this.
Let's kind of jump back to an update on a story that we covered a little while ago. So obviously we talked about the ancestry testing company 23andMe. They filed for bankruptcy. Now, biotech pharmaceutical business Regeneron is shelling out a whopping $256 million to acquire the company and many of its assets, including all of the 23andMe units, except the telehealth service Lemonade Health. The company is expected to close that deal by the end of the third quarter. Interesting. Dan, what do you think Regeneron does with this genetic testing company?
I don't know exactly, but when we look at 23andMe and you say, what's the value of this company? The only thing I can really think of is all the DNA information that they have. And someone out there, Regeneron, is saying, hey, there's substantial value there. Now, they're not just going to buy that for $256 million to hold on to it. It has to have some value. I believe it does have value. Think about what you know about all those people having their DNA information and how you react to that in business. Personally, I think for the public or people who have given their DNA to 23andMe, I don't see it as good news.
Dan, you took the words out of my mouth. This is a little concerning, but I'm sure when you sent your DNA away to 23andMe, you kind of signed away most likely all of your rights. Now your DNA is being sold to a completely separate company that you knew nothing about. it's a little concerning. This is certainly a story we are going to have to follow. But finally, really quickly, Hawaiian Airlines are introducing rather harsh new guidelines penalizing customers who confirm reservations, but then they fail to board ticketed flights by canceling the reservations for continued and return flights. The airline will not even let customers use the money or miles spent as credit towards future trips. Dan, we have about 20 seconds, but what do you make of this new policy?
To me, it's very simple. When you buy a non-refundable ticket, it costs less, right? So knowing that if you cancel and you're not going to be able to use it at all, what might you do? You may buy a refundable ticket, which is, of course, more expensive.
Yeah.
To me, it's about the bottom line.
I was going to say, it's always all about the money. Dan Geltrude, thank you so much for joining us this morning. So great seeing you.
Thanks, Alex.
All right, everybody.